This is English shorthand dictation number 75 and the dictation speed is 160 words per minute. Ready? Start. Honorable members, the House will notice that in this resolution we have not used the word democratic because we thought it is obvious that the word republic contains that word and we did not want to use unnecessary and redundant words, but we have done something much more than using the word. We have given the content of democracy in this resolution, and not only the content of democracy but the content of economic democracy in this resolution. Others might take objection to this resolution on the ground that we have not said that it should be a socialist state. Well, I stand for socialism and I hope India will stand for socialism and that India will go towards the constitution of a socialist state, and I do believe that the whole world will have to go that way. It is another matter for your consideration as to what form of socialism it will be, but the main thing is that in such a resolution, if I had put in that we want a socialist state, we would have put in something which may be agreeable to many and may not be agreeable to some, and we wanted this resolution not to be controversial in regard to such matters. Therefore, we have laid down not theoretical words and formulae, but rather the content of the thing we desire. This is important and there can be no dispute about it. Some people have pointed out to me that our mentioning a republic may somewhat displease the rulers of Indian states. It is impossible that this may displease them, but I want to make it clear personally, and the House knows that I do not believe in the monarchical system anywhere, and that in the world today monarchy is a fast disappearing institution. Nevertheless, it is not a question of my personal belief in this matter. Our view in regard to these Indian states has been, first of all, that the people of those states must share completely in the freedom to come. It is quite inconceivable to me that there should be different standards and degrees of freedom as between the people in the states and the people outside the states. In what manner the states will be parts of that union is a matter for this House to consider with the representatives of the states, and I hope in all matters relating to the states, this House will deal with the real representatives of the states. We are perfectly willing to deal in such matters as pertain to them with the rulers or their representatives also, but finally when we make a constitution for India, it must be through the representatives of the people of the states as with the rest of India. In any event, we may lay down or agree that the measure of freedom must be the same in the states elsewhere. It is a possibility, and personally I should like a measure of uniformity too in regard to the apparatus and machinery of the government. Nevertheless, this is a point to be considered in cooperation and in consultation with the states. I do not wish, and I imagine this Constituent Assembly will not like, to impose anything on the states against their will. If the people of a particular state desire to have a certain form of administration, even though it might be monarchical, it is open to them to have it. The House will remember that even in the British Commonwealth of Nations today, Ayr is a republic, and yet in many ways it is a member of the British Commonwealth. So it is a conceivable thing. I do not know what will happen because that is partly for this House and partly for others to decide. There is no incongruity or impossibility about a definite form of administration in the states, provided there is complete freedom and responsible government there and the people really are in charge. If monarchical figureheads are approved by the people of a particular state, whether I like it or not, I certainly will not like to interfere. So I wish to make it clear that so far as this resolution or declaration is concerned, it does not interfere in any way with any future work that this Constituent Assembly may do, with any future negotiations that it may undertake. Only in one sense it limits our work. That is, we adhere to certain fundamental propositions which are laid down in the Declaration. Those fundamental propositions are not controversial in any real sense of the word. Nobody challenges them in India, and nobody ought to challenge them, and if anybody does challenge, we accept that challenge and we hold our position. Yesterday, I told the members that I would be able to give some decision with regard to the program of the work of the Assembly this morning. I have been considering that matter, and some members have seen me also in that connection. The work we have to get through is this. We have this resolution which we are considering. Then we have got the rules to pass. Then there is another question with regard to the reference of the disputed point of interpretation to the federal court, with regard to which the Assembly may have to express some opinion. And lastly, we must have to elect at any rate some of the committees which will be provided for in the rules. So these are the 4 items that we have to finish before we go home after this session. The rules have been practically considered and the final shape is being given to them. I propose to place them before the Rules Committee tomorrow morning, and if the rules are finally passed by the Rules Committee, they will be presented to this House day after tomorrow. If the members so desire, we can take up the question of referring the point of interpretation to the federal court on Saturday, and thereafter we may take up the rules. I think that will take about 2 days or so. I think it all depends on the number of amendments which the rules may evoke. Thereafter we may give a day for the appointment of the committees. Now in this way, if we work on Saturday, also on Sunday and Monday, we might possibly finish all this work if members have some sort of self-denying ordinance, and all who speak little and take as little time as possible. If we cannot complete by Monday, then in that case we shall have to go on after Christmas. That is to say, we shall have to take some days in this month after the 25th. We cannot sit on public holidays, so we can take up the discussion again on the 27th and 28th. So unless the members are prepared to sit on a Sunday and to work harder on Saturday and on Monday, there is no chance of finishing the work before Christmas, and I do not like to go over to the next month, that is the next year. I want to complete the work within this month. I would therefore suggest that we take up this program. We start discussing the rules in the afternoon of Saturday, and if Christian members particularly have no objection, we should sit on Sunday, and then on Monday we may complete the whole thing. That would be rushing the business to some extent if you want to avoid sitting after the 25th. Otherwise we shall have to sit after the 25th and go on until we finish it. In this matter, this is the difficulty which I have placed before the members, and I should like to know which they would prefer. Personally, I would like to finish it by Monday if possible. Mr. Chairman, my honorable friend who has grown grey in the service of interpreting British imperialist laws has probably interpreted the limitations of the Cabinet Mission Plan correctly. As he said, the limitations are probably correct, but we need not be frightened by them. My esteemed colleague wants to wait for their Highnesses, the Princes, to come in and have a